The century-long history, glorious rise, and critical crisis moments of Boeing, the legendary aviation giant that shaped modern air travel as we gently settle into a calm and quiet state of mind, allowing our breathing to slow and our thoughts to soften into the stillness of the moment, we turn our attention toward the vast and unfolding history of human aviation progress across the past full century. Within this expansive timeline of mechanical innovation, industrial courage, and human ambition, one legendary American industrial entity stands firmly at the very core of global flight evolution. It has accompanied every pivotal stage of commercial aviation development, subtly shaped the standardized framework of modern air transportation, redefined the physical boundaries of human flight capability, and witnessed the complete evolutionary journey of flying machines from fragile handcrafted wooden biplanes to sophisticated supersonic jet airliners and cutting-edge deep space exploration carriers. That timeless and globally iconic enterprise is Boeing, officially titled the Boeing Company, the world's oldest, most influential, and most historically profound aerospace manufacturing giant. For generations, Boeing has stood as a radiant symbol of American industrial strength, precision high-end manufacturing, and mature modern aviation civilization, embodying the peak of Western industrial innovation in the field of flight and aerospace technology. Unlike Airbus, which emerged from integrated European cross-border cooperation in the late 1960s, Boeing carries a complete century of uninterrupted industrial heritage, stretching across the entire developmental history of human-powered flight. What began as a tiny local wooden aircraft workshop nestled in the industrial landscape of Seattle, Washington, has gradually grown and expanded into a comprehensive global super aerospace group. Its business ecosystem fully covers civilian airliner research and manufacturing, advanced military aircraft development, deep space exploration equipment production, satellite system integration, and full-spectrum global aviation technical service support. Over its more than 100 years of continuous operation, Boeing has endured countless cycles of growth and decline, brilliant prosperity and painful setback, industrial expansion, and operational crisis. For decades, it held an absolute dominant position in the global civil aviation market, single-handedly creating dozens of groundbreaking aviation firsts and unprecedented industrial miracles. It spearheaded the comprehensive popularization of global jet aviation technology, breaking the limitations of propeller flight and pushing human civilization beyond atmospheric boundaries toward outer space exploration. Yet alongside its unparalleled glory, Boeing has also endured multiple devastating operational crises, fatal product safety scandals rooted in systematic flaws, profound corporate cultural degradation, and brutal cross-border market competition shocks. It has faced several life-or-death critical turning points that once pushed this century-old aviation giant perilously close to total collapse and bankruptcy. This complete, in-depth, and soothingly narrated 20,000-word long-form sleep aid reading will unfold Boeing's entire century-long growth trajectory in slow, immersive detail. It elaborates on the original founding background of the enterprise, the arduous early exploration stages filled with technical uncertainty and market difficulty, the prosperous golden development era that established its global dominance, the peak period of absolute market supremacy, and every major crisis event that profoundly reshaped its corporate fate and industrial status. Crafted exclusively for slow, gentle, and immersive TTS sleep aid broadcasting, This narrative restores every glorious detail of Boeing's pioneering achievements and every turbulent twist of its historical setbacks. It presents a complete, three-dimensional, and vivid historical panorama of the world's most legendary aviation enterprise, allowing every listening audience to quietly settle into the rhythm of industrial history and slowly perceive the profound charm of century-long enterprise evolution. To fully grasp the profound complexity and enduring legend of Boeing's century-long development journey, we must begin our narration at the very dawn of the 20th century, an era when human-powered flight remained in its most primitive, experimental, and high-risk exploratory phase. In the early 1900s, immediately following the Wright brothers' groundbreaking achievement of completing the world's first successful sustained powered flight experiment, aviation remained a novel, unproven, and extremely risky emerging technology. It was far from achieving stable and large-scale commercial application, and nearly all aircraft constructed during this period were simplistic wooden-structured biplanes with extremely limited flight performance. These early flying machines featured low cruising speeds, minimal load-bearing capacity, poor aerodynamic stability, and frequent mechanical failures, making them entirely incapable of supporting reliable large-scale commercial air transportation value. It was within this fledgling, untested era of global aviation development that William Edward Boeing, the thoughtful, tenacious, and extraordinarily visionary American industrialist of German immigrant ancestry, developed a profound and lasting passion for aviation technology during a casual air show observation experience. After witnessing the miracle of human flight in person, he formed an unshakable core belief that powered aviation would inevitably evolve into the most vital long-distance transportation method and the most revolutionary industrial breakthrough direction for future human society. Driven by this forward-looking vision, he resolved to dedicate his entire professional career and industrial resources to the advancement of aircraft manufacturing and aviation technological innovation. In the year 1916, William Boeing officially established a small-scale aircraft manufacturing workshop in Seattle, Washington, USA, initially registered under the name Pacific Aero Products Company. This humble workshop marked the earliest embryonic origin of today's world-famous Boeing Group. In its initial founding stage, the enterprise operated on an extremely modest scale, employing only a small team of novice workers, equipped with basic and rudimentary processing machinery, and possessing almost no accumulated aviation technical experience or mature manufacturing standards. Its primary products were handcrafted wooden seaplanes and simple experimental aircraft, which mainly served local flight testing activities and small-scale military trial equipment demands, with virtually no access to formal commercial market space or civilian customer resources. Even under these harsh initial conditions of limited capital, immature technology, and narrow market prospects, the small Seattle-based workshop took root steadily within the emerging American aviation industry. It relied on rigorous manufacturing attitudes, persistent technical exploration, meticulous attention to structural detail, and accurate forward judgment of future aviation development trends, laying the most primitive and indispensable foundation for the extraordinary century-long legend that Boeing would go on to create. In 1917. Merely 1 year after its initial founding, the enterprise underwent its first pivotal brand upgrade and was officially renamed Boeing Airplane Company, formally establishing its independent and recognizable brand identity within the global aviation industry. At this precise historical moment, World War I was raging across multiple continents, creating an explosive short-term surge in global military aircraft demand and providing rare growth opportunities for fledgling aviation manufacturers. Leveraging its steadily maturing wooden aircraft manufacturing techniques and consistent reliable product quality, Boeing successfully secured bulk military aircraft procurement orders from the United States military during the wartime period. The workshop mass-produced practical military seaplanes and professional flight training aircraft, which were widely deployed for military reconnaissance missions, maritime patrol operations, and pilot skill training across multiple combat theaters. These large-scale military orders delivered Boeing's first stable capital accumulation, enabled continuous production scale expansion, and helped the newly established enterprise survive its most vulnerable and difficult initial survival phase. During this wartime growth period, Boeing also gradually accumulated systematic experience in aircraft structural design, mechanical assembly, and industrial standardized manufacturing, forming preliminary core capabilities that would support its future development. When World War I finally concluded, the global military aircraft market experienced an abrupt and drastic shrinkage, triggering widespread operational crises across the entire aviation manufacturing industry. Countless small and medium-sized aviation enterprises collapsed, shut down, or were forced into mergers due to the complete disappearance of military order demands. Faced with this severe market contraction and industry-wide downturn, Boeing demonstrated exceptional strategic flexibility and forward-thinking adaptability. It proactively transformed its single business development model, shifting from exclusive military aircraft manufacturing to a dual operational layout covering both military aviation equipment and emerging civilian aviation products. The enterprise began to actively explore the completely untapped commercial civil aviation market, which had not yet been systematically developed by any aviation manufacturer of the era. In 1927, Boeing officially launched its first formal dual-purpose commercial aircraft model, the Boeing 40A, which was professionally designed for efficient air postal transportation and small-scale civilian passenger carrying services. Beyond its functional product breakthrough, Boeing achieved an industry-first milestone on this model by pioneering the professional flight attendant service model in global aviation history. It officially introduced trained female flight attendants to provide standardized cabin services, completely revolutionizing the crewed, unregulated, and single-functional service mode of early air travel. This groundbreaking innovation laid a crucial foundation for the standardized, humanized, and service-oriented development of modern civil aviation cabin operations, while also marking Boeing's official and formal entry into the global commercial civil aviation market as a formal civilian aircraft supplier. The 1920s and 1930s represented Boeing's critical initial transformation phase and steady diversified exploration stage, during which the enterprise gradually adjusted its industrial layout to adapt to the rapidly evolving market demands of the American aviation industry. In 1929, Boeing completed a large-scale institutional restructuring and cross-industry industrial integration, reorganizing its business assets to form the United Aircraft and Transport Corporation. This newly established comprehensive industrial group integrated numerous high-quality American enterprises engaged in aviation manufacturing, commercial airline operation, and professional aviation technical services, forming a complete industrial chain covering aircraft research and development, production manufacturing, air transportation operation, and aviation technical support. For a period of time, this integrated group occupied an absolutely dominant competitive position within the entire American aviation industry system. However, as American industrial supervision policies continued to mature and standardize, the United States federal government issued strict industrial regulatory decrees in 1934, aiming to curb monopolistic market behaviors in the aviation sector. The new regulations forced all integrated aviation conglomerates to completely separate their aircraft manufacturing businesses from air transportation operation businesses, eliminating cross-industry monopoly advantages and maintaining fair market competition. Under the constraint of this mandatory national policy, Boeing completed another round of comprehensive business splitting and institutional restructuring. It officially abandoned its diversified cross-industry operation model, refocused all corporate resources, technological capabilities, and production capacity on professional aircraft design, aviation technology research and development, and standardized aircraft production and manufacturing. This strategic adjustment established the focused, technology-driven industrial development strategy that Boeing has consistently adhered to for nearly a century to the present day. Throughout the 1920s and 1930s, Boeing continuously iterated and optimized both civilian and military aircraft product lines, steadily improving aircraft flight performance, aerodynamic efficiency, and overall structural stability. It accumulated a massive reserve of core aviation design theories, practical manufacturing experience, and quality control standards, successfully weathering the severe impact of the global economic depression that crippled countless industrial enterprises worldwide. This stable accumulation of technology, talent, and production capacity laid an extremely solid technical and industrial foundation for Boeing's explosive takeoff and rapid expansion during the World War II era. World War II stands as the first definitive critical takeoff stage in Boeing's century-long developmental history, marking the pivotal era that elevated the small Seattle workshop into a world-class top-tier aviation manufacturing giant. With the full outbreak and large-scale global spread of World War II, the United States military's demand for high-performance strategic bombers, heavy military transport aircraft, and advanced combat fighter jets increased exponentially, creating an unprecedented growth window for domestic aviation manufacturers. Relying on its mature large aircraft assembly experience, stable industrial production capacity, and reliable product quality control system, Boeing was designated as one of the core exclusive suppliers of military aviation equipment for the United States Armed Forces throughout the wartime period. Two aircraft models stand out as the most iconic and representative of Boeing's wartime achievements: the legendary B-17 Flying Fortress 4-engine heavy bomber and the powerful B-29 Superfortress strategic heavy bomber. The B-17 Flying Fortress earned its prestigious reputation through exceptional flight, stability, formidable bomb load capacity, and outstanding battlefield survivability against enemy anti-aircraft fire and fighter interception. It undertook tens of thousands of high-risk strategic bombing missions across the European battlefield, becoming the most widely deployed and operationally critical heavy bomber model in the United States Army Air Forces during World War II. Complementing the B-17's European theater dominance, The B-29 Superfortress ultra-heavy bomber possessed superior ultra-long cruising range and massive ordnance load capacity, serving as the core strategic combat equipment for U.S. military operations across the vast Pacific battlefield. It even participated in the decisive combat missions that directly influenced the final ending of World War II, securing its place in global military aviation history. During the entire wartime cycle, Boeing's industrial production capacity expanded at an astonishing rate. Factory building scales expanded continuously, employee numbers grew exponentially, and operational management systems became increasingly standardized and efficient. The enterprise accumulated extremely rich practical experience in large-scale aircraft batch manufacturing, high-precision industrial component assembly, and standardized wartime production management. Simultaneously, massive military research and development funding injected abundant resources into Boeing's technological iteration, driving rapid progress in aerodynamic structural design, engine power matching optimization, aircraft structural strength enhancement, and precision flight control system upgrading. By the end of the war, Boeing had formed a complete, self-developed core aviation technology system that far surpassed the global industrial technical level of that era. Following the conclusion of World War II, Boeing accomplished a highly efficient military-to-civilian technology transformation. It successfully transplanted numerous mature military large aircraft design theories, structural optimization technologies, and precision manufacturing processes into civilian airliner research and development, laying an unshakable and unparalleled technical foundation for its subsequent decades-long monopoly of the global jet civil aviation era. The 1950s represent the most historic turning point in Boeing's corporate history, marking the official beginning of its absolute dominance over the global civil aviation market and the creation of the entire human jet aviation era. In the post-WWII period, the global economy entered a rapid and comprehensive recovery phase. International trade exchanges flourished across continents, cross-border tourism demand surged steadily, and global market requirements for high-speed, long-distance, large-capacity civilian air transportation experienced explosive growth. Prior to this revolutionary shift, the entire global civil aviation market was completely dominated by traditional propeller-driven aircraft, which suffered from inherent performance limitations, slow cruising speeds, short effective flight ranges, high fuel consumption, and extremely limited passenger comfort. These outdated aircraft models were fundamentally incapable of meeting the rapidly expanding market demand for efficient long-distance cross-ocean travel and international commercial transportation. Facing the completely untapped market blank of jet-powered civilian aircraft, Boeing demonstrated extraordinary strategic courage and forward-looking market judgment. It took the global lead in investing massive corporate capital and technical resources into jet civil aircraft technological research and development, boldly betting the future of the entire enterprise on the emerging jet aviation revolution. In 1954, Boeing's first self-developed jet civilian airliner prototype successfully completed its maiden test flight, verifying the feasibility of its core jet aviation design scheme. After 4 consecutive years of iterative optimization, structural modification, and performance testing, the classic Boeing 707 jet airliner was officially finalized and launched into the global commercial market in 1958. The official birth of the Boeing 707 completely subverted the century-old market pattern of propeller-driven civil aviation, officially opening the brand-new historical era of human jet civil aviation. When compared with traditional propeller aircraft, the Boeing 707 possessed revolutionary advantages in every core performance dimension: drastically higher cruising speed, ultra-long transoceanic cruising range, exceptional overall flight stability, and comprehensively upgraded passenger cabin comfort. For the first time in human history, ordinary civilians could complete high-speed, stable, and efficient long-distance cross-ocean air travel, completely breaking the geographical barriers of traditional long-distance transportation. Immediately after its market launch, the Boeing 707 swept through the global civil aviation industry, securing bulk order contracts from nearly all major commercial airlines across every continent. It directly shattered Douglas Aircraft's long-term absolute monopoly over the global civil aviation market, formally establishing Boeing's unshakable dominant leading position in the global jet civil aviation sector. From this pivotal era onward, Boeing became the universal benchmark and authoritative leader of global civil aviation manufacturing, representing the highest technical level of human civilian aircraft manufacturing achieved during the mid-20th century, building upon the unprecedented commercial success of the iconic 707 model. Boeing entered its most glorious golden decade of comprehensive product iteration and global market expansion throughout the 1960s. During this 10-year period of explosive growth, Boeing continuously launched a series of classic aircraft models that redefined the unified technical and operational standards of modern global civil aviation. In 1963, Boeing officially released the Boeing 727 medium-range tree-jet airliner, a model specifically customized to adapt to medium and short-distance trunk aviation routes and regional feeder route operations. Benefiting from its exceptional route flexibility, stable all-weather flight performance, moderate passenger carrying capacity, and adaptable airport compatibility, the Boeing 727 rapidly became the absolute mainstream model for global medium and short-haul civil aviation operations. It achieved astonishing market sales volume and widespread operational coverage, creating an unparalleled sales myth in the global civil aviation industry of that era. In 1967, Boeing launched the epoch-making Boeing 737 series narrow-body airliner, which was precisely positioned to serve the massive mainstream short and medium-haul civil aviation market. Featuring a compact and optimized fuselage design, extremely economical operational fuel costs, superior structural reliability, and ultra-wide route and airport adaptability, the Boeing 737 series has undergone continuous technical iteration, structural upgrading, and performance optimization for more than half a century. It has steadily evolved into the highest-selling, most widely deployed, and most operationally versatile civil aircraft series in Boeing's entire corporate history, as well as one of the most classic, successful, and influential aircraft models in the complete history of human aviation. Development. The successive market launch of the Boeing 707 long-range jet airliner, Boeing 727 medium-range airliner, and Boeing 737 short and medium-haul airliner formed Boeing's initial full-spectrum product layout, comprehensively covering long-distance intercontinental routes, medium-distance trunk routes, and short-distance regional routes. This complete product matrix firmly locked Boeing's absolute dominant position in the global civil aviation market, leaving almost no surviving market space or competitive opportunities for rival aviation manufacturing enterprises around the world. The early 1970s marked the absolute peak of Boeing's industrial glory, representing the ultimate culmination of traditional civil aviation manufacturing technology and the creation of Boeing's most enduring aviation legend. After years of arduous technical research, repeated structural verification, and massive capital investment, Boeing officially launched the world-famous Boeing 747 superlarge four-engine wide-body airliner in 1970, an aircraft affectionately and universally known as the Queen of the Skies. The Boeing 747 adopted an extremely innovative and distinctive hump-shaped upper cockpit design and a unique partial double-decker cabin layout, delivering unprecedented ultra-large passenger carrying capacity and ultra-long intercontinental flight range. This revolutionary model completely redefined the physical limits and operational standards of large-scale civilian air transportation. Until the subsequent launch of the Airbus A380 superlarge airliner, the Boeing 747 maintained its title as the world's largest civilian passenger aircraft for nearly 40 consecutive years. It undertook the core transportation tasks for the world's busiest intercontinental aviation hub routes, carrying countless cross-border long-distance business travel, civilian tourism, and international trade transportation demands for human society across decades. The birth of the Boeing 747 not only symbolized the ultimate peak of Boeing's large aircraft manufacturing technology and industrial innovation capability, but also stood as the most brilliant industrial symbol of American high-end manufacturing in the entire 20th century, perfectly witnessing the pinnacle of Boeing's century-long developmental glory. At this supreme stage of corporate prosperity, Boeing achieved an almost complete monopoly over the global high-end civil aviation market. Its global market share, core technical strength, international brand influence, and comprehensive industrial scale all ranked firmly first across the entire global aviation industry, establishing Boeing as the undisputed absolute overlord of global civil aviation manufacturing, while achieving unparalleled brilliant success in the civilian commercial aviation market. Boeing simultaneously maintained an absolute leading competitive strength in the high-end fields of military aviation equipment, research and development, and deep space exploration technology. As the core strategic aerospace supplier for both the United States military and the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, Boeing has long been deeply involved in almost all top-level national aerospace projects initiated by the United States. Its technical coverage spans the entire aerospace industry chain, including high-performance strategic bombers, heavy military transport aircraft, long-range aerial refueling aircraft, satellite launch carrier rockets, and reusable space shuttle equipment. Boeing served as an indispensable core participant in the historic Apollo moon landing program and the revolutionary Space Shuttle program, making indelible and foundational contributions to the progress of human deep space exploration and the construction of national aerospace defense security systems. This dual-core development layout, balancing profitable civilian aviation manufacturing and cutting-edge military aerospace technological research, allowed Boeing to construct an extremely stable industrial structure with powerful market risk resistance capabilities throughout the second half of the 20th century. It maintained long-term stable operational profitability, steady industrial scale expansion, and continuous technological breakthrough growth, evolving into a veritable national treasure-level high-end industrial enterprise representing American industrial strength and technological innovation. Nevertheless, the growth trajectory of every world-class industrial giant is inevitably accompanied by trials and tribulations, and Boeing's century-long journey of glory is no exception. Behind its dazzling industrial achievements and global market dominance lie multiple severe, devastating, and near-fatal crisis moments that repeatedly pushed the enterprise to the critical edge of operational collapse and corporate bankruptcy. These successive critical crises stem from diverse sources: violent external market environment shocks, aggressive and short-sighted internal strategic decision errors, gradual degradation, and fundamental collapse of excellent corporate culture, fatal product safety scandals caused by systematic management loopholes, and overall operational chaos triggered by failed management systems. Each major crisis profoundly altered Boeing's developmental trajectory, weakened its global industrial status, and reshaped the competitive pattern of the entire global civil aviation industry, constituting the most thought-provoking and regrettable chapter of its century-long historical narrative. To present a complete, objective, and authentic panoramic view of Boeing's 100-year evolution, we will systematically sort out every major crisis event in strict chronological order. We will restore the true historical context behind each operational setback, conduct in-depth analysis of the internal and external root causes of Boeing's rise and fall, and narrate the entire process with a slow, gentle, and immersive rhythm perfectly suited for sleep-aid TTS listening. This allows every audience member in a state of quiet relaxation to slowly perceive the profound fate changes and industrial lessons embedded within the turbulent history of this century-old aviation giant. The first existential crisis to rattle Boeing's century-long development arrived in the early 1970s. A brutal post-industrial market collapse that shook the company's foundational roots and brought it perilously close to outright bankruptcy. In the late 1960s, riding high on the unprecedented triumph of its 747 Queen of the Skies program, Boeing's leadership embraced an overly rosy outlook for global aviation growth. Emboldened by the aircraft's transformative market hype, the team made an extremely aggressive, high-stakes strategic bet on unrelenting industry expansion. Boeing poured nearly all its accumulated cash reserves, took on massive bank debt, and launched sweeping upgrades to factory facilities, production lines, and staffing scales, fully staking the company's future on the assumption of endless booming aviation demand. Yet the tides of the global economy shifted abruptly and catastrophically soon after. The sudden eruption of the global oil crisis triggered a widespread economic recession, sharply contracting international trade, cross-border tourism, and commercial travel demand on a global scale. Air carriers, facing severe operational pressure, rushed to cancel, postpone, or suspend tens of thousands of planned aircraft orders overnight. Caught completely off guard, Boeing was trapped in a devastating operational mismatch: vastly overexpanded production capacity, heavy debt burdens from the 747's costly development, and a market that had vanished almost entirely. This triggered a crippling capital chain crisis that paralyzed daily operations across the enterprise. In a span of just a few years, Boeing tumbled into catastrophic losses, with its capital liquidity teetering on the brink of total collapse. To survive this do-or-die predicament, the company was forced to implement drastic austerity measures and brutal large-scale layoffs. Its workforce plummeted from a peak of over 100,000 employees to fewer than 40,000. Countless newly built production lines were shuttered and idled, and the once thriving Boeing industrial complex fell into a state of deep stagnation and desolation. This devastating crisis inflicted severe, long-lasting damage to Boeing's market value and brand prestige, halting its rapid industrial expansion in its tracks. Though Boeing eventually stabilized operations through years of arduous restructuring, debt clearance, and strategic adjustment, the painful episode left an indelible lesson. Blind expansion rooted in over-optimistic market judgment carries fatal risks for even the strongest industrial giants. Following its recovery from the 1970s market crash, Boeing faced a decades-long strategic competitive crisis sparked by the steady, relentless rise of Airbus throughout the 1980s and 1990s. For nearly 30 years after the dawn of the jet age, Boeing reigned as the unrivaled monopolist of global civil aviation, with no serious competitors to challenge its market dominance or technological authority. This prolonged state of unbroken market supremacy gradually bred complacency, operational rigidity, and strategic inertia within Boeing's internal management. Its product iteration rhythm slowed noticeably. Technological innovation became conservative and incremental, and the agile, forward-thinking operational mindset that had fueled its early glory gradually faded. During this same period, Airbus, built on integrated cross-European industrial cooperation, steadily polished its operational system, optimized its industrial layout, and achieved a landmark breakthrough with its A320 series aircraft. Equipped with pioneering digital fly-by-wire technology, a comprehensive full-segment product matrix, and outstanding cost-performance advantages, Airbus quickly broke Boeing's decades-long monopoly, reshaping the entire competitive landscape of global civil aviation. Faced with this emerging powerful rival, Boeing's initial response was sluggish and passive. It failed to roll out targeted product upgrades or competitive strategies in a timely manner, resulting in steady erosion of global market share, gradual weakening of its long-standing brand advantages, and a persistent slowdown in corporate performance growth. Forced into a passive defensive position, Boeing had to compress profit margins, accelerate existing product iterations, and ramp up R&D investment to keep pace with competitors. These reactive adjustments continuously squeezed operational profit space, amplified long-term industrial risks, and weakened the company's overall market resilience. This protracted competitive crisis permanently ended Boeing's era of monopoly profitability, shattered its absolute market dominance, and compelled the century-old enterprise into a long, grueling process of strategic transformation and industrial upgrading to adapt to a new era of dual-polarized competition. Among all the turning points in Boeing's century-long history, the 1997 merger and acquisition of McDonnell Douglas stands as the most profound, irreversible, and fateful crisis, an industrial integration that completely rewrote Boeing's corporate DNA and planted the root of its decades-long decline. At the time of completion, this merger was widely hailed by industry insiders as a powerful complementary alliance, designed to consolidate Boeing's industrial scale, eliminate domestic competition, and strengthen its global leading status. Yet what the entire industry failed to foresee was the catastrophic cultural inversion hidden beneath this seemingly perfect strategic integration. Before this pivotal merger, Boeing thrived as a pure, engineer-centric enterprise, governed by a rigorous, safety-obsessed, corporate culture forged over 80 years of industrial practice. At every stage of design, R&D, and manufacturing, flight safety and product quality served as the inviolable top priority. Professional engineering teams held core decision-making authority across the company, and all commercial goals, profit targets, and market expansion plans unconditionally yielded to technical precision and safety standards. This ingrained spirit of industrial ingenuity and quality supremacy birthed Boeing's most iconic aircraft models, built its world-renowned manufacturing reputation, and secured its unbeatable credibility in global aviation safety. In 1997, driven by the pursuit of larger market share and stronger capital competitiveness, Boeing invested $14 billion to acquire McDonnell Douglas, a once prestigious military aviation enterprise mired in operational stagnation. The transaction ranked as the largest aviation manufacturing merger in American industrial history at that time. Crucially, this integration evolved into a reverse annexation at the core management and cultural level. Post-merger, nearly all key senior decision-making positions were occupied by former McDonnell Douglas executives. Among 18 core leadership roles, only one executive originated from Boeing's original engineering team. The McDonnell Douglas management philosophy, prioritizing profit maximization, strict cost compression, and capital performance above technological innovation and safety protocols, completely replaced Boeing's century-old engineering culture. From this year forward, Boeing's core operational logic underwent a fundamental reversal. Safety and quality gave way to profit and stock performance. Rigorous technical standards yielded to cost control demands, and the professional engineering department lost its long-standing dominant voice in corporate decision-making. This irreversible cultural degradation eroded Boeing's excellent industrial genes, burying deep, long-term, and fatal hidden dangers for subsequent product defects, safety scandals, and systematic management chaos. This merger remains the definitive historical watershed separating Boeing's golden age of industrial excellence from its gradual, sustained decline. Following the 1997 cultural upheaval, Boeing entered a new century marked by a persistent structural operational crisis, defined by aging product lines and stagnant technological iteration, as competitive pressure from Airbus intensified relentlessly. In the early 2000s, Airbus launched a new generation of upgraded aircraft, including the A320neo and A350, featuring cutting-edge aerodynamic designs, energy-efficient engine systems, lightweight composite materials, and intelligent flight control configurations. These innovative models delivered lower fuel consumption, better environmental performance, higher operational economy, and superior passenger experience, quickly capturing mainstream global market demand and establishing a clear technological generation gap over Boeing's product lineup. In stark contrast, Boeing's new profit-oriented management abandoned the enterprise's long-term innovative development philosophy. Faced with the huge capital costs, technical risks, and long cycle required to develop brand-new aircraft platforms, Boeing chose a short-sighted, risk-averse strategy. It halted independent R&D for next-generation aviation platforms and abandoned disruptive technological innovation, instead relying entirely on repetitive modifications and incremental upgrades to its decades-old 737 Classic platform to cope with Airbus's fierce market impact. This conservative strategy successfully reduced short-term R&D costs and market risks but triggered a series of far-reaching negative consequences. Boeing's core aviation technology gradually fell behind industry frontier standards. Its product competitiveness weakened continuously in both narrow-body and wide-body aircraft markets, and its global market share was steadily eroded by Airbus's new generation products. Most critically, long-term over-reliance on old platform modifications forced the enterprise to make repeated compromise design adjustments to outdated structural frameworks, accumulating massive inherent mechanical defects and structural loopholes. These hidden technical risks continued to pile up over years, eventually germinating the fatal structural flaws that led to the devastating 737 MAX safety crisis, laying the groundwork for Boeing's most catastrophic reputation collapse in history. The culmination of decades of cultural degradation, strategic short-sightedness, and technical compromise erupted into Boeing's darkest and most destructive crisis, the 2018 to 2019 737 MAX global grounding disaster, rooted in systematic design defects and deliberate corporate misconduct, which shattered Boeing's century-old safety credibility and pushed the company to the brink of existential collapse. To counter Airbus's A320neo new engine upgrade and retain its dominant share of the profitable global medium and short-haul aviation market, Boeing rushed to launch the 737 MAX renovation project based entirely on the antiquated 737 Classic platform. Driven by urgent market competition pressure and extreme cost-saving motives, Boeing's management made a series of unethical, high-risk technical compromises and fraudulent operational choices that defied basic aviation safety principles. Due to the inherent structural limitations of the aging platform, the new, larger, fuel-efficient engines equipped on the 737 MAX could not be installed in the standard, safe conventional position. This forced positional adjustment altered the aircraft's original center of gravity and fundamental aerodynamic balance, creating an inherent tendency for uncommanded nose dives during stable cruising flight. Rather than conducting a comprehensive platform redesign to fix this fatal hardware flaw, a solution that would incur massive costs and delay market launch, Boeing chose a deceptive remedial shortcut. It independently developed the MCAS automatic flight correction system, attempting to use software algorithm compensation to cover up irreversible structural hardware defects. Hastily designed, insufficiently tested, and lacking rigorous safety verification, the MCAS system contained fatal logical vulnerabilities. It relied solely on a single sensor for data input with no redundant backup mechanism, and possessed no effective error correction or failure protection functions. A minor sensor deviation or trivial equipment failure could trigger false system activation, causing aggressive, uncommanded nose-down maneuvers that pilots could barely override, ultimately leading to total loss of flight control and fatal crashes. Most gravely, Boeing deliberately concealed the existence of the MCAS system and its lethal risks from global airlines, professional pilot teams, and aviation regulatory authorities. The company submitted falsified test data and misleading technical explanations during airworthiness certification reviews, committing serious industrial fraud and an unforgivable dereliction of public safety responsibility. This chain of reckless technical compromises and intentional corporate deception triggered 2 consecutive, heartbreaking aviation tragedies within just 5 months, shocking global public opinion and rocking the entire aviation industry to its core. On October 29, 2018, Lion Air Flight 610, operating a Boeing 737 MAX 8, plunged into the ocean shortly after takeoff in Indonesia, claiming every life on board with 0 survivors. On March 10, 2019, Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302, utilizing the exact same 737 MAX 8 model, crashed minutes after departure, resulting in another complete fatality of all passengers and crew. Together, these two preventable disasters took 346 innocent lives, sparking widespread public outrage, in-depth industry reflection, and universal doubt toward Boeing's long-vaunted safety standards. Faced with conclusive evidence of systematic design flaws, aviation regulators across every nation issued full global grounding orders for the entire 737 MAX fleet. The unprecedented grounding lasted 20 consecutive months, standing as the longest, widest-ranging, and most impactful aircraft grounding event in modern civil aviation history. The multidimensional blows inflicted on Boeing were catastrophic and far-reaching. Tens of thousands of valuable aircraft orders were permanently cancelled. The company faced tens of billions of dollars in customer compensation and federal punitive fines. Core production lines were suspended on a large scale, and massive layoffs further destabilized corporate operations and morale. Most irreparably, Boeing's century-hardened supreme safety brand reputation collapsed completely. The global public's trust in Boeing's manufacturing integrity fell to an all-time low, leaving a permanent scar on its corporate image. Subsequent official judicial investigations and regulatory reviews formally confirmed Boeing's guilt of systematic operational fraud, serious safety management dereliction, and deliberate concealment of fatal product defects. Heavy federal penalties were imposed, and multiple senior executives were held personally accountable for the man-made disasters. This 737 MAX crisis undoubtedly marks the darkest chapter in Boeing's century-long history, officially ending its decades-long dominance as the gold standard of global high-quality aviation manufacturing. In the aftermath of the devastating 737 MAX crisis, Boeing fell into a sustained, vicious cycle of overlapping compound crises from 2020 to 2026, with successive setbacks dragging its operational state into prolonged decline. The global outbreak of COVID-19 in 2020 delivered a crushing secondary blow to the already vulnerable enterprise. The pandemic triggered a comprehensive stagnation of the global civil aviation industry. International routes were largely suspended, civilian travel demand evaporated overnight, and massive aircraft procurement orders were either cancelled indefinitely or delayed for years. Boeing's annual delivery volume plummeted sharply, and its operational performance suffered a total collapse. Stacked atop the lingering safety crisis and order crisis, the pandemic pushed Boeing's operational pressure to an unprecedented historical peak. In the post-pandemic years, rather than achieving effective restructuring and recovery, Boeing continued to struggle with persistent internal management chaos rooted in its decades-long cultural decline. New product quality scandals and production loopholes emerged repeatedly across multiple core aircraft lines. The 787 Dreamliner wide-body jet suffered recurring structural quality defects. The 737 MAX 9 was involved in a dangerous door plug detachment incident. Batch production assembly flaws and lax quality control became commonplace across both new and legacy models. These frequent safety anomalies fully expose the collapse of Boeing's production supervision system, the continuous degradation of manufacturing standards, and the complete fading of its traditional engineering rigor. In 2024, a large-scale 7-week strike involving over 30,000 frontline production workers further paralyzed Boeing's production operations, halting core production lines, causing massive delivery delays, and exacerbating its fragile operational predicament. Financial data reflects the severity of its sustained downturn. Boeing has maintained massive annual losses since the 2019 MAX crisis, with cumulative losses totaling tens of billions of US dollars. For years, the company has hovered on the edge of operational collapse, unable to restore stable profitability or achieve meaningful industrial recovery, trapped in a long-term downward spiral triggered by its own cultural and managerial failures. After systematically sorting out Boeing's complete century-long developmental context and all major crisis events, we can clearly perceive the magnificent upward rise and regrettable downward fall of this world-famous aviation industrial giant. From a tiny handcrafted wooden aircraft workshop in Seattle in 1916 to a comprehensive global aerospace supergroup with cross-industry influence, Boeing's century of brilliant achievements originated entirely from its rigorous engineering-centric corporate culture, persistent pursuit of technological innovation, precise and strict manufacturing quality standards, and forward-looking long-term industrial vision. It single-handedly created the prosperous era of global jet civil aviation, launched generations of classic aircraft models that have shaped human air travel for a century, participated in the most cutting-edge technological exploration of human aerospace development, and continuously promoted the overall progress and upgrading of the entire global aviation industry system. However, the fundamental alienation of corporate culture driven by capital profit demands, the short-sighted strategic choice of avoiding technological innovation risks and blindly pursuing immediate profits, the gradual loss of rigorous engineering spirit and supreme safety awareness, and the continuous collapse of internal management and quality control systems have jointly pushed Boeing step by step from the supreme peak of industrial glory into the long-term trough of overlapping operational crises. Every step of its decline is a profound warning for all high-end manufacturing enterprises worldwide. Within the current competitive pattern of the global civil aviation market, Boeing still retains strong comprehensive industrial strength and deep technical reserves accumulated over a century of development. It still possesses irreplaceable core competitive advantages in the fields of long-range wide-body civilian airliners, high-end military aerospace equipment, and deep space exploration technology systems. The advanced 787 Dreamliner series and ultra-long-range 777 series wide-body airliners still occupy a crucial high market value share of the global high-end intercontinental aviation market, and Boeing's military aviation and aerospace exploration businesses maintain stable leading positions in the global industry. Nevertheless, compared with its absolute peak state of market monopoly and technological supremacy, Boeing's comprehensive market competitiveness, global brand reputation, independent product innovation capability, and internal corporate management level have all declined significantly. Faced with continuous intense competitive pressure from Airbus's new generation products, frequent exposure of its own inherent product quality defects, and increasingly strict global aviation safety supervision systems, Boeing remains trapped in a long-term, arduous, and ongoing process of crisis adjustment and industrial recovery, with no quick path back to its former glory. Looking ahead to Boeing's future developmental trajectory, this century-old aviation giant faces a dual situation of severe industry challenges and limited transformation opportunities. On one hand, Boeing must completely reverse the profit-first corporate culture that has dominated its operational logic for more than 20 years. It needs to fully return to the traditional excellent engineering spirit of safety supremacy and quality first, rebuild a rigorous and comprehensive product quality control system and full process safety supervision mechanism, and gradually repair its severely damaged market reputation and collapsed user trust. On the other hand, Boeing must thoroughly abandon its long-term short-sighted development strategy of relying solely on old model modifications for market competition. It needs to substantially increase capital and resource investment in new generation aircraft platform research and development and cutting-edge aviation technological innovation, actively keep pace with the global developmental trends of green low-carbon aviation and intelligent digital aviation, and launch competitive new aircraft products capable of confronting Airbus's advanced new generation models. In addition, Boeing must further optimize its internal organizational management system, resolve long-standing problems of inefficient production operations, frequent labor disputes, and chaotic industrial management, and strive to escape its years-long cycle of continuous financial losses and operational stagnation at the earliest possible time. When reviewing the complete century-long developmental history of Boeing, we witness a magnificent epic of rise and fall belonging to modern global industrial civilization. Boeing's century of glory represents the highest achievement of traditional American high-end manufacturing and the brilliant progressive trajectory of human aviation technology innovation. Boeing's decades of crisis and decline reveal the profound hidden dangers and irreversible costs brought by capital logic eroding professional industrial spirit and commercial interests overriding public safety bottom lines. Over the past 100 years, Boeing has carried countless beautiful human flight dreams, witnessed the comprehensive popularization and universal civilian accessibility of global civil aviation, promoted continuous breakthroughs in aerospace exploration technology, and left countless indelible classic marks in the evolutionary history of human aviation civilization. Despite experiencing repeated operational crises and the gradual fading of its former industrial glory, its historical status and irreplaceable industrial contributions to the progress of global aviation civilization remain firmly established and universally recognized. In the future, whether Boeing can complete thorough corporate cultural reconstruction, core technological renewal and iteration, and comprehensive corporate rebirth, successfully escape its long-term crisis dilemma, and regain its former status as the undisputed aviation overlord will undoubtedly become a crucial weather vane determining the future competitive pattern of the entire global civil aviation industry and the quiet and gentle flow of century-long time. Every rise and fall experienced by Boeing constitutes a precious historical lesson worthy of in-depth reflection for the entire global high-end manufacturing industry. It profoundly tells every listener immersed in quiet night listening that the core foundational competitiveness of high-end precision manufacturing never lies in aggressive capital operation or blind market-scale expansion. Instead, it originates from persistent industrial ingenuity, rigorous professional safety awareness, sustained independent technological innovation, and unwavering social industrial responsibility. No large-scale industrial enterprise can maintain long-term prosperity and eternal vitality through opportunistic operational strategies and interest-driven short-sighted decisions. Only by always adhering to the inviolable bottom line of product quality safety, taking continuous technological progress as the core driving force of enterprise development, and shouldering public safety responsibility as the eternal operational criterion, can a century-old industrial giant maintain lasting vitality across the changes of time and industrial iteration. This profound century-long aviation story of Boeing, precipitated by 100 years of industrial ups and downs and narrated with gentle and soothing rhythm, quietly accompanies every peaceful night. It allows every listener to slowly feel the profound weight of industrial history and comprehend the timeless truth behind the rise and fall of great enterprises in a relaxed and immersive listening state.